over the internet. Like, I would vouch for Monty, someone I have known for years, a close friend of mine. I know who he is as a man. I know his family life. I know his background. If he says something, I could even come out without even talking to him and go, like, I'll stand by him anyway because he's a personal friend of mine, and I'd be willing to take the licks and the shots if someone attacked Monty. But in this particular case, that person isn't your friend. You don't know them. Now, look, you can say whatever you want. It's your account. But all I'd say is this. Look at the nature of how this is played out in the public reaction, and even from people who themselves maybe know very little bit about the people involved here. And what you'll see is this. You are not playing at low stakes. You don't know it. You are playing at the highest stakes. The tweet you make now, the defense you make now of someone you might not even know all the information about, that can potentially haunt you forever. That is the like or the tweet that in 4 years, when you want to get into esports, when you find that you're good at the next esports game, that is the one that will be screenshotted, will be brought back up, will be referenced. And even worse, when you vouch for people you don't know, even though this is unfair, they then later might make statements and take actions that also might poorly reflect on you and put you in a bad situation. And I'm sorry, nobody's going to care that the timestamp says 2022 and maybe the person did that in 2024. So even though I'd say this applies to everyone, if you're the young men out there who just think this is like 10 years ago internet culture, like, I'm just being edgy with a meme. It's like, well, listen, memes themselves can get you in trouble now. So all I'd say is watch your back and be very careful. Whoever you vouch for is someone you would go to war for, you would take the hits for.
Yeah, and also, like, especially in this case too, you may have seen the more reasonable takes, it sounds like, from this guy, but there's a lot of darkness out there as well that you
when
may
he
not
went on
be
the big
aware of.
podcast, Monty, he did here's the thing, he wasn't making a lot of those statements on those podcasts. That was the Fringe stuff years earlier. I told on the big podcast, he was saying all the things that in theory should counteract this. If you already heard that, like, now he would say, of course you'd treasure a woman, and what I really meant was, you know, like how you'd like set the that's the point. There's information that'll make these people think, no, he's been misquoted. He said loads of these things. The point is, he's been all over the spectrum of things you could say. So you're going to think you saw this part, but what happened over this part is the point.
Yeah.
Which
What did you want to say, Lauren?
Contrivance it is, by the way.
What did you say, say, Lauren?
I tend to be a pretty strong believer in the idea that, like, when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. And I think Andrew Tate has been pretty clearly on the record over the years. There's not a lot of, like, there's not a lot to speculate about around his beliefs. I think he's quite straightforward about them. I mean, he is on the record, multiple different sources in multiple different ways in multiple different time periods. You know, the dude has been relatively consistent with his beliefs. And so, you know, I think, like, it's there and pretty plain.
And also,
put it this way, if someone only thinks, I've seen this guy on TikTok, he was funny. The guy was a former kickboxer who then ran a bunch of online webcam girl businesses. Like already that should maybe make you think, maybe I should actually investigate that and find out more about this person before I defend them over a TikTok video. You see what I mean? Like, it ain't small stakes he played for, guys.
Yeah.
He's like a, you know, that SNL skit, this club has everything. Like, this guy has everything. Like, this guy, it's like, he's a, you know, human trafficking, violence against women. He has a hustle MLM that he's peddling that, you know, he's asking people to put out referral links and he's getting paid off of them. I mean, he is just a platter of a lot of gnarly shit.
Okay.
He's a classic grifter. He's the classic manosphere grifter. This is what blows my mind about it, is that I don't know how many times I've seen this fella. I've seen him. It's just a different name every time. You know, it's like way back, you had Dick Masterson when he went on Dr. Phil, and he was like saying, all women want to date me, all of your women are pigs. You know what I mean? Saying women need to get on the treadmill. He won't date fat women. You had that. I can't even remember who came next. There was that Roosh guy. Remember Roosh?
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, remember him? And this is in like the 2014 era when all the pickup artists, that's what they used to call themselves, pickup artists. And they were like, you know, sort of pandering to all of that. And that guy was ridiculous as well. Same shtick. Women are property, you know, rape is women's
part of their marketing.
Yeah, all of this gibberish. You know, yes. Mike Cernovich used to do that, Guerrilla Mindset, when he wrote that book before he moved on to being a Politico. There's like the Richard Cooper's another one. The manosphere basically is just the same fucking grift. Your audience is teenage boys who have fucking, they haven't got fully formed minds. And you spit out your pathetic surface level bro science philosophy about, hey, you should go to the gym and then women will like you. And if you eat meat and testosterone is the most powerful substance known to man. All this fucking, yeah, we get it. Like you could do an afternoon seminar and get this fucking shit. There's way more to life. Yet they tell all these fucking kids, it's like, it's this, you've got to live your life like this. And women are the enemy and you can't quite trust them. And actually society puts men down and blah. You say this to a bunch of fucking angry young men who are disenfranchised or whatever the fuck. They're going to eat it up. And that's the grift and that's the hustle. And none of these dickheads believe what they're saying. They're just, they themselves, like when you look at their history, they're always the fat little bully at school. They're always the guy who used to get beat up. That's why they started martial arts. They're always the guy that couldn't get laid and felt insecure about it. That's why they became a pickup artist. They always had some fucked up skin condition where they used to get bullied and called Flaky Joe or something. They always got this tragedy in their lives where they turned it round and then they rewrite their own history and pretend they were always the alpha. It's like, good for you for overcoming your difficulties, but you don't have to spew bile and fucking poison out there just to sort of overcompensate for the fact you know your own history. Like I said, these guys are all fucking frauds and fugazis. I feel sorry for anyone that buys into these, fucked up philosophies. Like they're losers. They're losers. I think clothing.
I don't want to get too into the weeds on this particular topic because I actually find this topic extremely interesting. But just as an aside, I feel very strongly that a lot of young men don't receive the role models or structure that they need in order to succeed. And so in a society that doesn't value creating that for them, then we get these grifters instead who become the role models and become very kind of poisonous and misleading ones. And I think that's very sad.
And it's not like there aren't real things mixed in. Like that, obviously there are grievances men can have. There are standards in society that have changed, and maybe sometimes they go too far the other way. But the point is that essentially, as Richard says, that just becomes like the backbone. That's the meat of the grift, isn't it? Then you layer over it. Because here's the problem, right? I'll tell you how you actually know a lot of these people aren't what they portray themselves as, right? As much as I might not like certain political affiliations, if you ever go to one of their rallies, certain ones I'm not interested in, they will absolutely be on the grounds about getting you involved in real activism. Like they'll be like, come with us to this next rally, or sign up to vote for this thing, or we're going to this next election here. Or, right? If you go to the ones that are the grift, here's how you know. It's just like, buy my t-shirt. Like you got to support me directly with this product and then I'll fight them for you. It's like, that's the person, as you're saying, like if that's someone who's lacking a strong male role model or some sort of like father figure, they're going to gravitate to someone like that. And that's why I say earlier, they're going to stupidly vouch for the person as if it was their dad, because they're going to think, but I did go to the gym, but I did clean my act up. I can talk to women, and they're going to actually transfer all that to the guru, as it were. It's the same concept as the guru, like whatever you call it. I can't remember the Indian name for the other one. That's the same grift from the 60s, basically. Yep. That's the way it works. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
And I will say in my life, when I had male role models, when I was in my late teens and early 20s who had a very big effect on my life and provided that structure for me, they did it for free. There was no ever expectation of payment. So it's a good barometer for sure. So I think like we've talked about Tate. There's tons of information for you guys out there if you want to take a look at it more. What this show is actually going to be about, for the most part, is first off, what the effect of this on G2 is going to be or should be, as well as the broader topic of, frankly, misogyny within the esports industry.